Hello, my name is Cecilia Twitchell, and for my senior project, I did a research paper for a framework for sustainability. I had three purposes in writing this paper. The first was to develop a framework for a small local business to become more progressive in their environmental campaign. My second was to outline the process in becoming an advocate for sustainability. This includes how an organization obtains knowledge, employs it, and empowers their community with that information. And my third purpose in writing this paper was to make the reader understand the desirability of sustainability. And so I begin with my literature review, and I really used my literature review to create a foundation of the topic of sustainability in the first place, but also to really support the desirability of sustainability. Why would a company even want to consider a framework? Why is it even worth it? So that's really what I use my literature review to do. And I discussed things like advocacy, how to become an advocate. Using Donda's 2013 ladder sustainability, where can a business improve upon to become that eventual leader in sustainability? Things like products and processes, and each rung on the ladder discusses how to reach that goal. I also discussed the marketing ability of sustainability, how you can use sustainability as a marketing tool. It's a fact that consumers are more and more turning towards green and green business practices, looking at the ecological face of the business, and taking action will generate reputation and legitimacy, which I obtained from articles like Hart and Milstein's 2003 article. I also discussed the finances of sustainability and the positive correlation between environmental performance and financial performance, which was based off an INEAR 2003 article. And I also discussed how sustainable practices will lead the organization to cost and risk reduction, which was from also the Hart and Milstein 2003 article. So sustainability is going to be beneficial financially, marketability-wise, and it is worth it to do. Sustainability is worth it. So, and I also touch on within my literature review how sustainability is not a passing fad. It's not a trend. It's not something that if a business ignores, it will go away. A study performed by the United States Business University students found that their attitudes towards sustainable practices was inherently positive, which was a study done by Ng and Burke in 2010. And this proves that sustainability will only continue, and thinking in the long term will only benefit a business. So sustainability needs to be thought of as in the long term. So I began my research for this framework by looking locally at the businesses in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I decided to look at environmental nonprofits for their methods. Since they are leaders in sustainability, they are the organizations that their entire function is to create those best methods. So I wanted to evaluate what exactly is it that they're doing that is sustainable. What should a company pay attention to? And so I found a resource, the Center for Nonprofit Excellence, which is a directory of all nonprofits in the Charlottesville area. And once I narrowed down my selection to environmental nonprofits into the Charlottesville area, I was able to find 17, and from that 17, I narrowed it down to 11 selected nonprofits to evaluate their methods. The nonprofits that were removed due to things like they were too niche of an organization. They were more of a reservation, like a park reservation. Some were more at the state level, and this was meant to be a study conducted at the local level, things like that. So I ended up with 11 selected nonprofits, and that was the Appalachian Voices, the Charlottesville Climate Collaborative, Generation 180, the Green Blue Institute, the Local Energy Alliance Program, the local food hub, the Rivanna Conservation Alliance, the Southern Environmental Law Center, the Piedmont Environmental Council, the Shenandoah National Park Trust, and Wild, Virginia. So after I found my nonprofits, I needed evaluation standards to evaluate them across the board, and I developed 5 key evaluators, which were their companies or the organization's purpose, their process, their success, their audience, and their philanthropy. So I evaluated, what is the goal? What are they trying to accomplish? How are they trying to accomplish that? What methods are they using? How successful are they? How effective are their methods? Who do they gear their information towards? Who are they getting their information from? What is their community? And finally, the philanthropy is also ties into community, and what are they doing that is different, and what should a company pay attention to? So common themes I found in my research, I found clean energy was talked about innumerable times. Clean energy, there was such a strong focus on. Second was materials, recycling materials, using materials wisely, understanding where you're getting your materials from. I also found strategic relationships, which I found was a surprise in my research, that strategic relationships are such an important part of sustainability, and getting information and understanding what the newest research states, to understand what other companies are doing to employ their sustainability. Strategic relationships is such an important part. Also in investment, so strategic relationships and investment in sustainability. Also fluid research, always understanding what processes are effective, understanding what's the newest information that you can get. And then finally investment. Investment is obviously a huge part of sustainability. Someone needs to perhaps fund the projects or processes, or develop at least the framework, which of course requires investment of time and energy and money. So the framework I finally developed was community, investment, goal setting, and information. So of course all these nonprofits discuss community as they are local. However, I really can trace this back to the advocacy and marketing of the community. How does the company advocate for their community? How are they a leader in their community? How do they brand themselves within their community, and also within their business community, within their own organization, within their community as a whole, within the business sector? That really established a large foundation for sustainability. My next was investment and finances, how sustainability truly can benefit a company, and how that is such a huge part of becoming sustainable and continuing it. And next is goal setting goals that can be achievable. Sustainability is not going away, and again, it needs to be thought of in the long term. Think long term in your goal setting, and a company cannot go and just say, I'm going to be sustainable. They need to have concrete goals where they develop and they work towards and they meet and they benchmark. And finally, information, which is also reaches back to advocacy and marketing. How are you using your information? How are you employing it? How are you empowering? Using that information to increase your methods and your effectiveness. So in total, the community, investment, goal setting, and information, that is the framework that I developed, that I found can have a small local business become more progressive in their environmental campaign. These are just the steps that can lead them to that end goal of advocacy and leadership. So to address biases within or limitations of my research was limited to the Charlottesville area. My research was only conducted online. I received all of my information just from their websites, what I could find online. I did not have any interviews. Additionally, I did restrict this information to nonprofits. It was not, there were no private businesses evaluated, And again, this was due to wanting to understand their what the leaders were saying is the most effective methods and how to become sustainable. So